Hey everyone, how you guys doing? Next week, x-rays of the thumb, hopefully 2 weeks away from getting this thing off, getting my life back. But anyways, let's get into something that just happened. If this was the WWE, we could have a chant for Dana White and the UFC. You effed up. You effed up. You effed up. So what did they F up in? Well, we all know the UFC heavyweight division could still use some help, right? Well, now there is just one less talent available to bring in. And arguably it's the best talent, saying, like Francis Ngannou is one thing, but pure talent, this was the best talent that the UFC could have brought in, and they dropped the ball. 33-year-old Vadim Nemkov has just re-signed with the PFL. They gave him a 2-year deal, so he is staying put. And we're going to get into this, but first, guys, please like the video, share it, hit that subscribe button, put it in a Darce hold, make that subscribe button tap out. And down below, you tell me what you think. You tell me what you think about the UFC heavyweight division and how badly it needs some help. Okay, so after Vadim re-signed with the PFL, info comes trickling out a drip at a time, right? Well, he said some very interesting things that are questionable. Here's the deal. Whenever there's negotiations, just like anything in life, there's one person's perspective, there's the other person's perspective, and then there's the truth. So I don't necessarily know that he is speaking 100% truth here. But it's interesting. He said that he actually did some negotiating with the UFC, but he did not like the conditions of the deal, and there's some misunderstandings between the two camps. And the real interesting thing he said, and I'm stunned that he would actually be quoted as saying this. He said he believes that the UFC does not want to sign any Russian fighters. Now think about that. Think about that for a second, okay? You have all of Ali Abdelaziz's, army, Islam Makhachev, all the Dagestanis. Now you could say all that stuff is just favors Dana's doing for Ali by signing his fighters. Okay. Well, you have Magomed Ankalaev. You have Shamil Ghasayev. You have Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, he calls himself Chechen, but he's Russian, Chechnya is in Russia, so he's Russian. So why possibly would he say that? Well, let's remember something. Vadim Nemkov is the apple of Fedor Emelianenko's eye. He is the centerpiece of Team Fedor, right? Yeah, there's, other fighters, like Moldavsky and a bunch of others. But Vadim Nemkov is the centerpiece to the team. And we all know Dana and Fedor have had issues going back to the Pride days, right? And Fedor is undeniably, unapologetically, very, very, very close with Vladimir Putin. And before you say politics has nothing to do with it, politics has to do with everything on this planet. How many people in your own family do you personally no longer talk to because of politics? How many friends have you lost because of politics? Politics plays into everything. So the fact that you would say that politics doesn't play into account for a sports contract, you're being foolish. Of course politics has some sort of play somehow. Whether you're super woke, you're super conservative, you know, there's repercussions if your beliefs are known. Right? Now, Trump might not know who on the planet Vadim Nemkov is, but he knows who Fedor is. He knows Fedor since the days of Pride, right? He could have possibly mentioned something to Dana. I don't know. I mean, it's a stretch. I'm not saying it's fact. I'm saying that that's a stretch. Maybe a 1, 2, 3% chance, you know, of Don getting involved with this contract. Like I said, 1, 2, 3% chance, maybe. Okay, but it's still not a no way in hell. It's a stretch, but it's a maybe, right? Now would that be the be all end all? No, because Dana's going to do what Dana wants to do, no matter if Trump said something or sponsors say something. Dana doesn't give two rats poops, right? But again, it's possible something was said. Now, Vadim Nemkov also said that he would reconsider when the contract is up. Now look, we all know heavyweights last longer than in any other division, right? So 35, 36, maybe he comes to the UFC then, gets between 1 and 4 fights and walks away. But the problem with that is he's being mishandled by the PFL. The PFL took everyone from Bellator and misused them. They didn't know what they had. They brought in just too much talent, and guys got iced. Okay. Patricio Pitbull, Aaron Pico, Michael Venom Page. All these guys sat on ice for a while. And look, there's a difference between training and fighting, okay? They lost a lot of time. I mean, especially Aaron Pico. Just sitting, not doing anything. So, could he make an appearance at 35? Sure. However, at that point, I think there'd just be too much ice put on him. Because look, Vadim Nemkov is super athletic, okay? I'd say he's a little bit less athletic than Cyril Gane, but fighting at distance, he's outstanding at. He fights better at distance than in close, okay? I wish his takedown defense could be a little bit better, but he has power in both hands, and they're quick hands. He has a good kicking game, and all that stuff will still continue to deteriorate in the PFL. And look, I'm not shitting on the PFL, not by any stretch of the imagination. Fighters that they let fight are good. But guys that they've iced, they lose something. And another 2 years being on semi-ice, not being consistently active, will hurt. And then if he does sign with the UFC and he gets beat, God forbid he gets murked, everyone's going to sing the same song and dance about fighters coming into the UFC. Oh, see, they don't have the talent. They never had the talent. When that's not the case. When Vadim ran roughshod, because look, he's on a 14-fight unbeaten streak right now. In his prime of that in Bellator, I mean, I don't think he would have taken out John Jones, but there's a lot of heavyweights he could have taken out. A lot of, when he was at light heavyweight, a lot of light heavyweights he could have taken out as well. You know, and there's another thing that could be a reason why this contract fell through. And not from the Don or Dana side, but from the Fedor Emelianenko side. Like I said, there's a lot of heat between Fedor and Dana, okay? But it could have been Fedor. It could have been Fedor telling Vadim, don't go. Don't sign that UFC contract. Okay? And if you say that's far-fetched, look, Antonio McKee back in 2011 had one fight in the UFC. The rumor is that he was never treated well in the UFC, which is why AJ McKee is not in the UFC. And to bring it to another sport, to baseball, look, for those of you who don't know, there's a well-known story that when Ken Griffey Sr. was with the New York Yankees, Junior was just a kid and was not treated very well by the guys in the clubhouse. And Junior had put it in his mind that no matter what, he would never, ever, ever play for the New York Yankees. And sure enough, never played for the Yankees. So there's a possibility, which I think this is about, I'd say, a 60% chance that Fedor had something to do with this. Because of the heat between Fedor and Dana, Fedor could have just said, no, don't do it, don't do it. But in 2 years, I want Dana and the UFC to throw the bank at Vadim Nemkov. You know, he'll push Tom Aspinall to his limits. I'm not saying he could beat him. Okay. But especially since he can fight good at distance, he would give Aspinall some problems. Maybe not offer, like John Jones type money. But throw the bank at this kid and make it known that we want him in here. Because look, again, for the 10 billionth time, we all know it. The UFC's heavyweight division, except at the tip top, stinks. And this would have provided an instant star into the mix. So anyways, guys, do me a favor. Like this video, share it out, subscribe to the channel. Down below, let me know what you think. And until the next video, Cyclone saying peace out. Home skis.